Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different to any of my other videos that I've made so far, in that it's literally just going to be cooking with me and just a bit of a sit down chatty video, to be honest. I was doing all this cooking and I was like, do you know what, why don't I film this for YouTube and tell you how I make these recipes? And it just sort of follows on from my last video that was all about meal planning. I just thought I'd show you me doing some meal prepping, to be honest. So in today's video I'm going to show you two muffin recipes that I like to make. One is a savoury muffin and one is a sweet muffin, and then I'm also going to show you me meal prepping some fajitas. Alright, so first off, the savoury muffins. So I'm literally just going to start off by finely chopping up some red peppers and then also finely chopping up some spring onions. Now, to be honest with these, you could probably put anything in it, but I really like putting the sweet peppers in just because they add a really nice flavour, and then the spring onions are really good as well because they're so small you don't need to pre-cook them. However, if you don't have the spring onions, then you could probably get away with really finely dicing up just a normal onion. So next, all I'm going to do is just add 4 eggs to a jug, and in this video I then add half a cup of plant-based milk. That's just because I try to avoid having like too much dairy, but to be honest, I did this a few days ago, I think it was, and I actually used yoghurt here. So I used Greek yoghurt, just unsweetened Greek yoghurt, and it worked so much better than doing the plant milk. So if you have unsweetened Greek yoghurt, add that instead. It just seems to make the mixture much thicker and creamier, and I found with these egg bites that when I'd cooked them they'd risen beautifully, and then as soon as they cooled down they like deflated, whereas when they had the yoghurt in they held their shape much better and stayed much bigger, much sort of fluffier. So I would recommend using Greek yoghurt instead. I will put all the recipes for the things that I'm making in the description below, and for this one I will put yoghurt rather than the milk. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to add is a teaspoon of turmeric, and this just gives it such a gorgeous golden yellow colour, and turmeric's like really good for you as well. So I've added that in, and then lots of salt, lots of pepper, just because we don't really get much salt from anything except from the cheese that we're going to put on top at the end. So make sure you're seasoning that eggs mixture nice, otherwise it's going to taste a little bit bland. And then all you're going to do is whisk it all up until it is nicely combined. The last thing we're going to prepare for these egg bites is just some cheese. Now, I usually use cheddar cheese, however we didn't have any in the fridge, so I resorted to using this blue cheese, and to be honest I am not a fan of blue cheese. I really don't like it, but I thought, do you know what, it's such a small amount that I'm putting in these egg bites, I'm sure it'll be fine. And having eaten them all now, I have to say I do still prefer the cheddar. The blue cheese just has quite a strong flavour. So you choose what cheese you'd like. You do want something that will sort of melt. So yeah, choose whatever cheese you want for this. And you don't need all that much, I'd say like between 25 and 50 grams. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get a silicone moulded muffin tray. You can do it with metal ones, however, whenever I've done it with the metal ones in the past, everything has just stuck ridiculously, and I got this silicone moulded tray for Christmas and it's the best thing ever. As you'll see, nothing sticks to it, it's insane. So all I'm going to do is just divide out the pepper, the spring onion between the different moulds. You can also add in like cooked bacon here and things like that. You can basically put in whatever you want into these egg muffins, so you choose what you want in. This is just what I'm doing for this video. So I'm just going to divide everything out evenly. I'm then going to pour the egg mixture over the top, and then at the end I will sprinkle the cheese on just to finish it all off. Alright, we are now on to the sweet muffins. So for this, we are going to be making white chocolate and cranberry muffins, and I'm also putting in a banana just for some added sweetness there. So to start off, get an overripe banana and mash it up in a bowl until it's all gooey, and then to that you're going to add 2 eggs. Whisk it up nicely, and then to that mixture you're going to add in 1/4 cup of maple syrup. You can use other sweeteners here or even sugar. I just find that it makes it a much nicer texture just adding that maple syrup in rather than granulated sugar, etc. Next to the bowl you're going to add 1 3/4 cups of self-raising flour and also 1/4 cup of oil. Make sure it's not flavoured or anything. In this video I'm using rapeseed oil, and 1/4 cup of milk, and then you're literally just going to stir everything together until it combines to make a really smooth batter. I'm also going to add a pinch of salt to the mix because this just helps to bring out all the lovely flavours. Now we're going to add our flavourings. So I've got some dried cranberries here, it's just a 75 gram pack, and I'm just going to pour that in, and then I am going to chop up some white chocolate nice and finely. Imagine it's like your chocolate chips, but I'm just going to use this bar because it's what I've got, and I'm going to reserve a small amount that's going to go on the top. So most of it's going to go in the mix, and then I'm going to reserve a little bit that's going to go on the top at the end. Stir everything together until combined, and then you're going to divide the mixture evenly between those remaining 6 muffin cases, and just sprinkle a little bit of white chocolate on top of each one to finish them off. And then you want to put this muffin tray on a baking sheet. Now I should have done this before I filled them because it made it really tricky getting it on, so don't make my mistake. Put the muffin tray on the baking sheet first, and then you don't have to worry about this later on. And then these are just going to bake at 180 degrees Celsius, and the sweet muffins, so the white chocolate cranberry ones, will take about 20 minutes, and then the egg bites are going to take about 30 to 35 minutes. So just keep an eye on both of those. Check them both with a skewer to make sure that they're done. If you do this, the skewer will come out clean if they're ready. If they're not, then it won't. With the egg bites as well, you'll be able to tell because they'll almost wobble like sort of jelly if they're not quite cooked yet, whereas if they are cooked, they will be fairly solid. Done with our muffins now, and we are on to making the fajitas. So we're going to start by prepping all of our vegetables and putting them on a plate at the side. I find just doing everything at once makes it so much easier, and as you'll see in this video I've also got a little bowl at the side which I'm putting all my waste and all my rubbish into, and this I've found just saves me time and stops me making a mess because I'm not having to go backwards and forwards to the bin all the time. So all you're going to do is you're going to slice up a red pepper. So in this instance I'm actually using the rest of the red pepper that I'd used when we were making the egg bites earlier. I've then got a carrot, and I'm going to cut that up into matchsticks, and I'm then going to take off 3 sheets of cabbage and finely slice that. And I've also got 2 mushrooms which I'm going to peel just because they're a little bit old and the skins are going funny, so I'm just going to peel off the outside of those and then slice those up finely as well. So what I forgot to say is that we're also going to be making some homemade guacamole to go with the fajitas. So we're going to start doing that now in terms of with our red onion. So you're going to cut a red onion up in half, and one half you're going to slice, and that's going to go with the rest of the vegetables, and then the other half you're going to really finely dice it and put it in a bowl. And you're then going to get a lime, and with the lime I like to use the zest just because it tastes so good, so I'm going to grate the zest, add it to the bowl with the onion, and then we're going to juice the lime and pour the juice over the top of the onion. So the reason we're doing this is it's just macerating the onions, so it's basically making them less bitter, and red onions do actually have a much sweeter flavour than white onions, and so it's just allowing that flavour to really sing out, and the longer you can leave it for before you add it to the guacamole the better. So I'm actually prepping this at around lunchtime, and I'm going to have the fajitas for tea this evening after I get back from work. Now we've got all our vegetables prepped, we've got our onions macerating, we are going to focus on the chicken. So I've just got 2 chicken breasts here that I've got from my local butcher, and this means that they're really nice quality and they've already had any sort of fatty bits or bony bits removed. So I'm literally going to cut these into long sort of chicken goujon style strips. So you don't want them too big, you want to think about them being sort of bite-sized. And I'm going to put them in a glass bowl because we're going to marinate these for a couple of hours. Again, you don't have to do this if you are cooking in a rush. However, like I said, I'm going to have these for tea and I'm making this at lunchtime, so I'm going to allow them to sit for a bit. So to the glass bowl I've got this fajita seasoning, and I'm just going to pour like a generous amount over. I'd say it's probably about 2 tablespoons maybe, and I'm going to make sure everything is evenly coated, and I'm just going to mix that around with my hand and then make sure that I wash my hands really well afterwards, obviously. And then I'm going to put everything in the fridge. So I'm going to cover it with my reusable cling film. Yes, they look like shower caps, but they are fab. It's going to cover everything with that, and it's going to go and sit in the fridge until I want it later. It's now quite a few hours later and I am ready for my tea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a big pan on the hob, add a bit of oil, let it warm up, and then I'm going to fry the chicken on both sides. It's been marinating until it is cooked through. So I'm going to do this in 2 batches just because of the size of the pan, and once they're cooked I'm then going to put them on a plate and I'm going to throw in the veggies into that oil because it's picked up all the flavour from the chicken, and I'm just going to gently stir fry those veggies until they char a little bit, until they soften a little bit, and then just to add a little bit more flavour and make a little bit of sauce, I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of tomato puree and just stir that through the vegetables. Meanwhile, while this is all cooking, I'm going to get my guacamole finished. So the onions have been macerating really nicely throughout the day, and I'm going to use 1.5 avocados. Use 2, use just 1, whatever you have. I just have a spare half, and I'm going to cut the avocado up into cubes and scoop it out, and then I'm going to add the onions to that. I've also got 2 tomatoes that I've diced up, and I'm going to add those in as well, and I'm going to stir everything together. Make sure you're adding that lime juice that the onions were macerating in, because this is where the real flavour comes in. And also make sure you add lots of salt and pepper and taste it, because they are really what make this guacamole sing. So make sure you keep tasting it, keep adding the salt and pepper until you are happy that it tastes good. And then to finish it all off, all you're going to do is get some wraps. I've just got these whole wheat wraps. All I did was stick them in the microwave for 30 seconds, and this just warmed them up a little bit, and then I put a little bit of the guacamole on the bottom of the wrap, and I then put some of the fajita mix on top and wrapped it up. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I know it's a little bit different to usual, but if you want to make any of the recipes, remember they will all be in the description below. And yeah, happy cooking, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye!